Good afternoon. It is Saturday, I think. I don't know what day of the week it is anymore. I think it's Saturday. Been out with the butterflies in the mountains. I'm a little bit late getting back. Traffic can be pretty crazy on Saturday. So I'm here 5 minutes later than I promised, but at least I'm here. So I'm going to wait and see if anyone wants to join me today. It's all about cocooning. It's all about, we spent a lot of time. Let me clear some energy for you. Wee. Good afternoon. I see a couple. Come on in. Hi, Lauren. How are you? How is the weather out your way? I'm sure it's probably a little toastier than what we've got, although we're pretty toasty right now. Hi, Julie Kiss. How are you? Nice to see you guys. I see 3 so far. Come on in. It's nice when I warn you, isn't it? Because I typically, lately, it's just, okay, now. Part of me wants to apologize, but I'm not going to, because I feel like it's very important for us all right now to be very, very authentic with our own selves and to allow ourselves to receive the healing time, the stillness that we need. So I've been popping on with a lot of videos. I actually made another one today in the most beautiful place. I went down and sat by one of these bodies of water that I sit by quite often, and I found this huge, massive rock. I call her the Mama Rock, who at one point was at the top of the mountain, and somehow she traveled all the way down there and landed right in the water. And she's huge, and she allowed me to sit there and collect my piece a little while. So I videotaped the water again. So I'll post that again later, because that has been my main focus lately. Coming into this time where every year I start to go into this downhill slide, like, uh-oh, there she goes again. She's going back into those old patterns. PTSD is very alive and well at my house. And that time of Steve getting sick, being diagnosed, was like so traumatic to me. It was like somebody sucker punched me. It was a horrible experience. And it just kept going and going and going until he finally passed just 6 weeks later. And so it was a very traumatic time for me. And even though I say, oh, I've healed in so many ways, I've done so much work. And yet every year at this time, and it seems like it was just yesterday that I hit this, just yesterday. Time is going by so fast. Just a year ago, I was going through this same thing. And I spiraled really deeply into it a year ago. I was very, very lost in grief, depression, sadness for about a month. It was pretty deep, and it was pretty, what's the word? There's a good word for it that might come to me, but it was life-changing, life-altering. And when it started to happen again this year, I thought, okay, I'm going to give it other names. I'm going to go through this. It's no big deal. I'm going to ignore it. I could put my blinders on, and I'm just going to keep going to the water, and I'm going to keep trying to pretend that it's not here, my big white elephant. Until a few days ago when I decided, okay, I'm not going to do that this year. I'm not going to pretend that everything is okay this year. I'm not coming in here to say, oh, I'm completely healed and everything's perfect and I am Miss Perfect. I'm here to say that I am allowing myself the time and the stillness and the sanctuary. Sanctuary, the word just came to me, sanctuary. I'm allowing myself that space to do the healing work this year. And it goes a lot deeper than it's ever gone before. And it's coming to such a beautiful place already. In just a few days, it's like the healing is coming in so much better for me because I'm allowing myself to be honest and authentic to my own self. We often, someone says, are you okay? And we say, yeah, I'm fine. And we're not. We're really not. But we're forcing ourselves to smile. And we pretend that we're okay. None of us as empaths wants to allow other people to feel our suffering, right? We go around, we pick up everybody else's pain. We don't want anybody else to experience any of our pain. So we put a smile on our faces. We go through life as if everything is coming up roses, but it's not always. So that's what it's all about today. I'm going to read your comments here in just a second because I would like this to be more interactive. I don't have a time schedule. You guys can come in as long as you want and leave whenever you're ready. It's all about creating a space, and I do believe that whenever I go through these really deep healing sessions for myself, however long it takes, I always come out the other side with something new, some kind of new growth, so some new project. So today is kind of my announcement day too, that there is a new project, because we're going through such massive losses. So many people are going through loss right now. There's a lot of people crossing over, taking this exit point, and they're moving into spirit. And so we have a lot of this, and a lot of people are going through trauma. And or it could have been 20 years ago, and you're still doing the same thing I do. You're still going through that horrible pain of, here comes those dates again. Here comes diagnosis day. Here comes whatever day. And then you keep on working your way as if it's an echo that just starts playing back out inside of you, and here it comes again. And it would be nice to say, okay, stop, I don't want to do that anymore. But that's not the way our energy works. It will continue to replay until it finally finds closure, which is where most of what people call hauntings on the planet come from. Places where there was a huge amount of grief or trauma will continue to play out. Gettysburg is a big one. So many died there. So a lot of people, mediums, or they'll feel the energy. I remember the first time when I got old enough to really know what was going on, I drove through Gettysburg, and I remember feeling that energy. It was crazy. And so within us, the earth works that way, and within us, we also will keep continuing to go through that echo of the trauma. It'll continue and continue until we finally find the closure that we need, right? So there's healing work. If I say, okay, it really doesn't matter that it's been 5 years for me. It really doesn't matter, because it could be 150 years, and if I don't find the closure that I need, if my soul isn't able to revisit those events and find those things where that energy is stuck, it continues to replay. So I'm finding where I'm stuck this year. And that's when my biggest thing is go into this, and okay, where are you stuck? That's where you're stuck. And it took me some deep work. And when I realized where I was stuck, then I was able to say, okay, I can reinvent this. I'm reinventing the wheel in a way. I'm allowing for, instead of that loneliness and that aloneness of being so in this all by myself and feeling so completely, what's a good word? I have no words today. My brain doesn't want to go to words lately. I don't know if you guys are doing that too. I don't think there's anything wrong with my brain. It literally just can't seem to stay in 3D mode. It's gone again. The energy for the word is there. But I felt deserted. I felt like I was very deserted in the whole process of him being sick. And now, where I am, I know that I was never deserted, nor was he. We had plenty of support from the other side. We could have brought in more support on this side. I chose to be alone in it. And I had a huge aha moment this morning, realizing that I felt like, see if I can go into this. This is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of work. When we start to open to it, all of a sudden we'll go, okay, what's that? So this morning I had another moment of, I have carried a guilt inside of me for not allowing him to really tell me how he was feeling, to really discuss what he was going through. I know he was kind of going over to the other side and coming back and going over the other side for quite a while. He was really more on the other side than he was with me. And when he was in those moments of lucidity, a few times I would look at him and go, I know you've been someplace. I see your mouth moving. I know you're talking to, I can't see who you're talking to, but I know you're going through something. And I wanted to be able to open to him, but I was so stuck in saving his physical self that I didn't give him the time to explain to me what he was seeing on the other side. Imagine. Imagine what he could have told me if I'd have just allowed him. And he was afraid to tell me because he was afraid I would lose hope. And I carried a lot of guilt in me for a long time, till really just now, just today when it started to release. Because he was never meant to explain to me what he was going through. He was never meant to push me, help me get to that place of acceptance. I wasn't meant to accept his passing at that point, because it was in that desperation of me going into the bathroom and putting myself on the floor, candles lit, incense burning, calling on whoever would come in and help me, that the inner healer in me woke up. So I needed that, and I'm sure that I'm the one that volunteered for that. I needed that desperation. I needed to feel as if somehow I could save him, because that was what woke me up. So it's a big aha moment for me, and I share this out because I feel like oftentimes people get this idea that we're being punished, that life isn't fair. You know, like, why did I have to go through that? What did I do wrong? That was one of my big things, guilt. What did I do wrong that brought me to that place? And the thing is that we're not doing anything wrong, that the soul has things that it wants to learn while in physical, that it needs to learn. And that those really, really painful moments that we go through are those opportunities for us to really crack wide open, to allow us to finally really, really, really wake up. I thought I was awake. I really thought I was in pretty good shape while he was still with me physically. His passing, that experience of going through his suffering and his crossing over experience, and then his coming back to me and allowing me to experience what it's like, that energy of being crossed over, of being without physical form. Man, there's nothing like it. So that physical part of me may need healing, may need to realize what it's like, may need to finally accept that, okay, I don't have him in physical form. And that is the most painful thing for any of us to go through. And I needed to realize that process of him passing, fully realize. I've talked about it before, but I haven't fully come to it yet. That my ego is still clinging. My ego is still like, yeah, but. He told me I would do that too. Shortly after he passed, he said, I know, I can see your wheels spinning. You're trying to figure out how I could have stayed with you. And you still get to the place that you wanted to go. And you couldn't. You wouldn't have been able to do it. It wasn't possible. So he was much wiser than me. Within just a month after he passed, that was a message that he gave to me, and I'm now seeing it. So please, it's all I want to share with you guys today in verbal, as far as I'm concerned, me personally, is over time we begin to open our eyes, we begin to see what the suffering has done for us. We tend to, in the human race, we tend to look at suffering as being a punishment and something that we want to avoid. Please don't make me suffer. That's what we came here for. Oftentimes we came here to experience this lower vibrational energy. The pains and the suffering actually help the soul to grow in massive levels. So we wouldn't be who we are if we didn't set ourselves up for a rough road. We would just be coasting through life. Everything's perfect. Everything's beautiful. You know, I don't really need to stretch or grow at all. I'm just going to stay. We would be in a cocoon our whole lives. We would never fully experience what we came here to do and to experience if we didn't hit that brick wall sometimes, if we didn't have those experiences that cut us to the core. So it shines the light in, right? It gives that crack where it opens us up, and then this beautiful light shines in and fills in the space. So that's what I've got to do. Gotta say, hold on, because these little glasses are right here. I want to see what you guys got now. Let's go back. Julie. Do not know what would happen if it were my husband. My prayers are with you. So it is very hard, and it's a learning experience. And I always said the same thing. I don't know what I would do if it were my husband. I saw other people losing people. I don't know what it would do. I was so in love with this man, you know, like we had only been together for 6.5 years. He was everything to me. So to lose him but I did it. That's the hardest part. When someone gets sick, we have this fear of, how am I going to handle it? Am I going to be able to get through this? You will. You will get through it. You will be fully supported. You have this beautiful team around you all the time. You have friends that are going to help you. I'm not saying it may happen. I'm not predicting anything because it may never happen. You may be the one that goes first. But whoever watches this, if you're going through the experience and you're sitting there thinking, I will never get through this. I don't know how I'm going to survive this. And I remember I can feel that pain right now that's searing. It cuts right to the heart. I understand what a broken heart is. I couldn't imagine how I could possibly live through it, but we do. And when we do, we come back so strong and so different if we allow. So we always get through it. You know what I wanted, Julie? After he passed, I said, the rule on the earth should be that when two people are truly, truly joined, that they are absolutely head over heels in love with each other, that they should be able to just lay down and die together. the same time. No more of this like separation stuff. My kids weren't real happy with that plan. You know, there was a reason why I had to stick around, and he was well aware of the reason that I had to stick around more so than I was. So there's a reason for everything. Whatever happens, we are strong enough to get through it. Lauren, what do you got? Going in a cocoon for a while. Yes, I think that it's an important energy that's on the earth right now. You know, more so than, you know, I could sit here and talk about my own personal experience, but we are going through such a huge growth spurt, that it really, really requires us to shut everything down. Don't watch a lot of TV. Don't even. I like to have music going all the time. When I'm out walking in the woods, I'll often put music in my ears. And sometimes I'm getting this message lately that, wouldn't it be better to be silent? Wouldn't it be easier to really listen to your guides? Wouldn't it be really easier to hear your higher self if you didn't have that music playing in your ears? So I'm trying more silence too, because I really feel like that this is probably one of the biggest growth spurts that we have ever gone through. We've all gone through some pretty big ones. This one is massive. And I can only imagine whenever we go through these growth spurts. I remember when I was writing Anchor Light, I would be in one of these big growth spurts where I'd be like down at the bottom of the bottom. Literally, this mud puddle time. She has gone to the bottom. I always said the roller coaster ride would take a big dive and I'd be all the way down at the bottom. And a lot of those pieces I wrote from that bottom space. But I realized after a while watching, it's like a graph, you know, like one of those, and I would go down, 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 down. The further down I would get, the more work I did down there in that mud puddle or mud bath, whichever way you want to, the more I was willing to really experience the pain, the more I was willing to really experience whatever was going to come to me without trying to hide from it. Just let it roll in, release, let go, let yourself experience. The higher I would come up, you know, the quicker I would come up the other side and the higher I would come up. So it's in that, oh, I know I'm going down into this. Do I want to go out and have a party? Do I want to go find a bunch of people to hang out with? Do I want to turn on the TV set, make a bunch of noise? Because we're trained to do that, by the way. Most humans like to make a lot of noise so they don't hear that inner voice and they don't get that soul growth. And so when we're looking for the soul growth, it's in this silence. It's in the energy. Energy speaks volumes. Our angels speak through energy. Our guides are speaking through energy. Our loved ones speak through energy. And then it comes to us and we turn it into words. Or the translators. Remember that. So when we really want to experience them, we have to go into total silence and just let that communication flow. The energy. I was sitting there this morning. I go back to it and I can feel it again. I was sitting there on that giant rock, massive rock. I could have just sprawled out. I thought about just laying right out, but there was people walking in the trail. And they were already looking at me funny for hugging the big tree. So I thought, yeah, they're going to lock me up if I get too weird. So I just sat there, Indian style, however you want to call that. Crisscross applesauce. Is that what they called it in school? I sat there on that rock. And I just watched the water for the longest time. I recorded it for about 10 minutes, and then I turned it off, and I just sat there. And the butterflies kept circling around me. These little daddy long legs kept coming to say hi. And the water was making that, and I could actually, as I was sitting there, I could feel the vibration of the earth through that rock. It was as if every now and then there was a little quiver underneath me. I thought, wow. To me, this rock is so solid. It was huge, massive. What could make it move? But every now and then it was just as if a giant stepped into the room and the floor kind of just, it felt like somebody was walking to me. Nobody was there. So I feel like in my stillness, I was feeling earth energy move. I was feeling the heartbeat of Mother Gaia. That's the only thing I could consider. I was like, oh, I feel you. So it was in that silence and in that stillness that it's almost as if we become one with nature. We become a part of the rock. We can feel the heartbeat of the rock. We can feel Mother Gaia coming through the rock. The energy was amazing. It's like the most pure, beautiful love energy that you can ever experience. You don't need anyone else. I know we think we gotta have other people, and it's beautiful when we have other people in our lives. I walk out there and I see families and couples, everybody walking, talking, and I'm all by myself every day. And I go out and I sit on that big rock, and I realize as I'm sitting there all by myself that I don't need anyone else. That as I'm sitting there, this beautiful love just comes in, and I'm absolutely engulfed in it. Who else, if I'm with somebody, I miss that. That's what's so funny. I go out there with Jim every now and then, and I don't feel that energy. It doesn't happen. But when I'm by myself in silence, it comes to me, and it just fills my beingness. Every cell of my body lights up. So I could go on about stillness all day if you want me to, but that's just more talk. You guys are just talking away. Let me see. My eyes are not so strong today. 6th anniversary of your name change. That's a really exciting one. I love that. I love that you've gotten this far. How does it feel? My kiddo, my youngest, has a name change, and it took a long time. And sometimes somebody will still throw that name, that old name, the baby name, at this kiddo, or we still say she, which Lyron is a they. They, he tends to be more than she. So it's a very confusing thing for my ego to shift from. I decided, so Lyron is, it's difficult for me to go, okay, brother, sister, daughter, son, what, because my ego is so set on having 3 girls and 3 boys. My youngest is a girl, but my youngest doesn't want to associate with being a girl. My youngest is a they, has changed their name. And so I decided yesterday, when I'm talking to anybody, instead of saying sister or brother, Lyron is the other. The other. We just find our ways through it. It's very confusing, and it's beautiful. And I love being a part of it. And I love the fact I celebrate with you, Lauren, for choosing your path, for being authentic and true to yourself. So, congratulations on your 6-year anniversary. It's awesome. The Speakers Bureau. I cannot cocoon, though. Do it the best, however long you can. Do you know what I found? Is that even though, and I started to apologize earlier, I started to make a video, I was going to apologize for not being here every day lately. But I realized that whatever else goes on, that my self, this part of me, this very deep part of me that's trying to go through a big growth spurt is more important than anything else. And so for the first time, I'm putting that part first and allowing for the solitude, because I have to. I could join all kinds of things. I could be speaking here, speaking there, doing this, doing that, getting on this network, whatever. I could be really networking myself. And instead, the message that I get from my guides is, you're already doing everything that you need to do here. You're already here. You're breathing. You're creating an energy. You're pulling in an energy. You're doing what you came here to do by doing nothing. It's okay if you choose to do other things. It's okay, but make sure that you are honoring that very deep part of yourself that needs stillness first. So if we have to get up a little bit earlier in the morning, if we have to do something different, change our schedule out, do something, say no every now and then, God forbid we have to tell people no every now and then. We have to honor ourselves first, because we came here to do this, which is being still and breathing. And everything else is just added onto that. Everything else is just fillers. Important, beautiful, helpful, life-changing, yes. And first, we take care of ourselves. Does that speak at all to you? Let's see. Julie, it's 3 years. Yeah, it does. It doesn't. A loss is a loss is a loss. So often people say, well, it's only a dog. That's not true. A dog is a member of the family, and we love them just the same. Sometimes it's even more of a stronger bond, because they're so easy to love, because they're so unconditional. I lost a poodle. He was like my child before, and this was before I even had children. He was my child. I had him the moment he was born. We had the female. She had these puppies. She had 2 little girls. And we left the room. We thought she was done. And I walked back in to check on her a little while later. And there's this little boy there. He's a little red poodle. He's a little guy. They were like 7 pounds full grown. So he was just a little boy. And I held him in my hands. And the energy hit me. And I said, oh, I'm so in love with you. And we were supposed to sell those puppies. And that one didn't get sold. And I kept him. He was my right-hand guy. He went everywhere with me. He was the sweetest little guy. And around the age of 7, the night before he passed, he was in my face, just kept rolling his big eyes at me and laying his head on my chest. And I'm like, Red, what is wrong with you? Why are you being, because he was a very healthy dog still. And I said, what is wrong with you? Why do you keep acting like this? He was being so strange. He just kept, like he was like trying to say goodbye to me. And I didn't understand it. I was hugely pregnant with my first child. It was, she's now 30, so that was 30 years ago. Over 30 years. I was staying at my parents' house, and they lived on a little bitty dirt road, and they had one neighbor that they actually rented a place to right next door to them. And I was getting ready for work, and my mother had a little red poodle, and I had a little red poodle. And my mother went outside to do laundry. They had a laundry room out in the front, and when she did that, she let the dogs out. And I looked out my window just in time to see her little poodle almost get run over by the neighbor. And I went, gosh. And I said, he almost got hit. And when she passed by, I saw my dog right in there. Because he always chased her dog. That's how they play. And I went, I still want to cry now. Because he didn't, there was nothing I could do. There was nothing I could do. He was my child before I had children. And I have not fully bonded to another dog. I will admit that. I have not fully bonded to another dog since I lost him 30-some years ago. So, to tell me that you're still mourning your dog after 3 years, maybe I still have some healing work to do on that one too. Now that you bring it up. A loss is a loss is a loss. And there's no, time really doesn't even exist. We walk into this space of, it's right now. It's always right now. We lose them right now. So, or we have them right now. We can walk into the happy stuff. We can walk, and all of a sudden our psyches will walk right into a pocket of sadness. Because on this day, at this time, maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 3 years ago, we were experiencing a certain thing. And we're walking into the energy of it again, whether we realize it or not. And so, my heart goes out to you too. Everyone. I think everyone that ever watches this, or ever reads any of my books, or ever has any contact with me, I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you right now I'm sorry, because we've all gone through some serious losses. We've all, being physical, whether this lifetime or another lifetime, we're all going through abuse, loss, confusion, difficulties. And so my heart goes out to you right now. Let's see. Mud is clean and dirty and at the same time. King Koopa and Super Mario. Love it, Lauren. Just got back from a walk. Hi, Carol Ann. Ellen, it's nice to see you. Got denied the first time due to bad handwriting. You have to tell me more about that on the side. I'm not really sure what it's all about, Lauren. Speakers may help me get my first paid speaking gig. I see. That's very cool. That's very cool. Good luck to you on that one. All kinds of positive energy. Maybe on Toastmasters podcast. That's very cool, Lauren. I'm excited for you. You had a red poodle. Male, 8-pound red poodle, made at 16 years old. Julie, you and I, it's funny how Carol do it too. So often we meet up with people that have these things that are so like what we've gone through. He was just a little bitty guy. Mine was 7 pounds, 7, 8 pounds, just little. Small, what do they call that? Small miniature? Something like that. Anyway, he was a sweetheart. I'm not going to therapy. I tend to be my own therapist, Lauren. I probably should be going to therapy, but I have my own way of doing things. I did date a therapist for a couple of years, so maybe that was as close as I was going to get. I feel so much that you understand us and help us through these very hard times. You're very welcome, Julie. I think that's why I'm here. That's my purpose. If I'm going to do any kind of work, it's to help other people go through these things. Oh, your name change got denied the first time due to bad handwriting. Lyron would love to have their name legally changed. Lyron is only 14 right now, so it would have to be something where I would have to help. But I totally get the whole name change. There's times when I would like to legally change my name. So right now it's just changing the E at the end to an A. I think I haven't fully come into the whole name change yet. My oldest changed her name to, well, she didn't really change it that much. Her full name is Jessica Jean, and she doesn't want to be named Jessica anymore. So even though she allows me to still call her Jess, she switched her name to Jean or Jeannie. So I think it's important. You know, we get so bothered by the parents, you know, like we went to all this trouble to give you that name, you know, and you've always been that name, and it can be very difficult to let it go. And I love the way that people are more open. You know, a name is so important. It needs to feel good. The pronouns I'm finding are so important to Lyron. I didn't realize that it actually hurt Lyron to hear the she's and the hers. It was very strange for me because Lyron was such a girly girl. You know, as a little one, was so into high heels and dresses and wanting to be just like, you know, all these, their big sister. And then all of a sudden everything shifted and changed in Lyron. And I think it's really important for us to allow this in our children, whichever way it goes. I love this child. This is one of the wisest, most amazing souls that I've ever had the pleasure of experiencing. If this amazing soul wants to be called they, them, wants to change their name to Lyron, I'm all for it. I'm right in. I'm in, babe. I'm in. So I hope that you experience that same thing. There are some people that have been going to therapy for years and I couldn't do it. The thing here, should I say this? This is my experience. See other people up there. This is only purely my experience. We all have our own way of experiencing life, right? So my experience with therapy, because I have experienced it with some of my kids, and I've experienced it in different ways, and I've learned psychology. I've done a lot with traditional therapy. Without the metaphysical, without working through energy, without helping to release energetic blocks, we don't heal. So most people, and I'm not going to say everybody, but most people who only go through traditional therapy, rarely do they ever have those kind of breakthrough, or it could take years and years and years to get that breakthrough. Maybe they finally will, but it's blocked energy. And when we can call in our guides, our angels, when we can get that help, and we channel healing energy to those places, and sometimes it's going to places that are not in this lifetime, oftentimes. So when we go into the metaphysical realm, it means that we can actually release energetic blocks that are not necessarily even anything that happened in this lifetime. So going further into the therapy, where it comes to the metaphysical counseling, the metaphysical work, releasing blocks of energy, you actually have the opportunity to fully heal, to come into a place where that energy is just simply, imagine this, you're carrying around energy that's not even your own. You're an empath. You go through life, you're picking up everybody else's energy. You feel guilty, you feel sick, you feel tired, you feel drained, you feel all these crazy emotions, fear, and it's not even yours. And so you're going through life carrying around everybody else's baggage, and suddenly somebody comes along. You can go to therapist after therapist, and they're not getting to that place of saying, look, it's not even yours. I know you're an empath. Now, there's a few that'll go into the metaphysical, but mostly they're taught that that's crazy. I studied psychology for a couple of years. I almost had my bachelor's, and then I just got so disenfranchised I didn't quite finish. So I went into metaphysical counseling instead, because that's where my heart is. Because I don't want to just drag you out from one session to another session to another session and have my hand out for your money. I say, here, I had $150 for that hour. And have you say, well, thanks, I'll see you in a couple of weeks so we can sit and talk again about the same stuff and never really make any progress. I would rather say, you know what, let's see what kind of energy you're dealing with here. What do you got that you're carrying around that might not even be your own? And if it is your own, then let's see if we can get to the bottom of it. So we'll start clearing energy and we'll get to these places where suddenly an attachment or piece of you from a past life or something, that old karma that you're trying to, trying to get through, all these different things, all of a sudden that stuff that is considered crazy in the true sense of the fashion, sense of the word, that's what I'm trying to go with, is not crazy at all. Suddenly you see somebody that goes from being really, really, Lyra and I were just talking about this yesterday because she loves Criminal Minds. And I said, what if they were wanting to go, sorry, they were wanting to go to school to be, to go into criminology, but they are not sure that they can handle all of that. They and Jackson were talking, sorry, I can't do it. I'm trying really hard. And they're okay as long as I keep correcting. But both kids were talking a lot about, Jackson is now 17, very psychologically aware that one is. And they were talking a lot about whether or not Lyron could handle being in criminology because there's a lot of violence and scary stuff. And I said, what if you could do something where you were actually able to, because this person of mine, all of my children are so sensitive and so intuitive. I said, what if you could work intuitively with someone who is going through something and maybe catch it before it turns into a violent crime? Maybe you get to this place where you're able to clear that energy that is making them crazy. When we have an attachment, it can make you crazy. You'll feel everybody else's emotions. You'll feel, the emotions of that person. Maybe they killed themselves or they themselves did a violent act and they're still hanging about because they're afraid to cross over because they got this mistaken belief that if they try to cross over, they're going to go to hell. So they keep hanging about and they're clinging to this person, and you meet that person and you're like, something is not right with this person, and you go into an energy clearing and suddenly this energy that is not their own pops up, and you're able to get that energy away from them, and then hopefully get that energy into a space where it is healed enough, where it releases from the earth plane and allows itself to go into healing, into complete healing. That changes. That's a game changer. That person who has been carrying around that energy for, who knows, I've cleared some that have had them for over 30 years, suddenly feels free, suddenly feels like, wait a minute, I don't even know who I am. I've been so busy going through all of these things that were not even my own trauma related. They were somebody else's stuff that I was just hanging about. It could be through many lifetimes. You could be lifetime after lifetime struggling with that. I didn't know we were going to talk about this today, but we had a really great talk yesterday in the car. And so I want you to know that there's more to healing than going to traditional therapy. There's more to healing than going to traditional medicine. We have this other side that's been shut down for so long, and people have been hiding from it and pretending that it doesn't exist or burning people at the stake for it or whatever. And so now here we are, all of us little witches that were burned at the stake or drowned or hung, all of us people that have all these abilities that have been trying to come in and teach the world how to heal and have been stopped in our tracks so many times. We're here. Hi, John. So I'm right there with you, Lauren. You need to, traditional therapy has its place. I'm not saying don't do it. Just don't forget that there's a whole other side to all of this, that the metaphysical side has huge, beautiful results. And we can often, with that combination, I often will tell people, I don't want to be the only one. If you're I'll be glad to work with you. If they're really, really hurting and really damaged and really struggling, I want them to have that psychology, side too. I want them to have the physician. I want them to have some kind of other therapy, whatever it is, so that I'm not all by myself trying to help them through it, but I'm always happy to be a part of it. So I am well. How are you, John? So we got a nice little group. I did promise today from the top of the mountain, if anybody was able to catch any of that transmission, I did say something about cards. So if anybody would like, I've got a phone call in about 45 minutes, so I've got plenty of time. So if anybody would like from me to pull a card, I've got a lot of good energy. I've been sitting at that water and I'm just loaded full of good energy. And so if anybody wants to have a little card reading, some of you have been here right from the beginning, you just say yes. And I will be happy to pull a card for you. I'm really drawn to this Sacred Earth Oracle today. So Denise, yes, that's why Denise came here. Denise said she promised. I did promise. Let me see, because I get them all turned around because I love these so much. These are the most beautiful cards, and I'm all about Native American energy today. And I love that flying bee, and I love the colors of them. Let me start with this, okay? Denise, I'll get you in just a second. Julie Kiss. I love this. It's fun. Yes, we love water. Us little water babies. We're all made of water, right? 71% of us is water. We go sit by the water and it makes us feel like, oh, that's better. I just found myself again. Let's see. So this is for Rebecca, correct? No, Denise. I do that with my kids too. And when they change their names, it makes it even harder. Denise. We're calling on Denise's guides and angels for any message. Here in that deck. Ooh, that one, my thumb just lit up on that card, so that's the one you're going to get. I love that. Ooh, it's beautiful. I never quite know how. I'm going to have to feel this card out for a second, because I think this is a physical heat. Look at that. I love the colors. This is probably my favorite color. I always wanted a bedroom that color. Could somebody make me a bedroom, a paint that's the color of fire, and it's got to have all the different colors in it. I want it all on my bedroom wall. It's really strange. They're the same colors as the sunset. So we got heat. The heat is on, isn't it, Denise? The heat is on. I'm not sure what's going on in your world. It feels as if you've got some extra pressure going on. You've got something coming to fruition, something moving in very, very powerfully. And so when we've got big growth spurts coming into our world, wow, the energy is strong with this card. When we got this big growth coming in, we can often feel a lot of unrest, like we're almost going to just take off like a rocket if we don't do something about it. The energy just fills us up, and we get this kinetic energy around us, and we're always on the move. We feel like we got to do something, whatever. It's like, ooh, what am I going to do? I got to do something. I can't sleep at night. I can't seem to rest. I've got something big going on, and it feels like all I'm getting when I look at your card is the heat is on. The heat is on. What is it that you got going on that feels very, very energetically charged? You got this electricity, and the second half of that is also the power that is going to push you over the top. So whatever it is that you've been working your way to, you're getting up to the top, and you're about ready to just see if you can get over that crest, and you're going to take off down the other side. So the heat is on. This is your power coming into a very, very strong place, like a really opening to it. So here's my suggestion to you, Denise, is to be still as much as you can to ground your energy. When we got a lot of energy, powerful energy coming in like that, it makes us feel kind of crazy. You just, I can't figure out what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay, go into the earth. You're going to go put your feet in water. You're going to go take off your shoes and stand in the grass. I know people think you're weird. I've done it in the middle of Chicago. People thought I was weird, and I survived it. I just went over to my favorite tree in the woods, and when I first got up to her, she's so huge. I walked up and I just stood there, and I just enjoyed her energy from afar. I can feel her. So I just stood there and I felt that energy, and then I can almost hear her say heart to heart. She always invites me in. I wait for that invitation because this tree is so powerful. And I went over and I climbed up and I just put my heart right against the tree. And I feel that earth energy just grounds into me, and it puts my roots back down into the earth. And all of a sudden it's like everything starts to clear. My vision starts to clear. Everything starts to come down. And I'm able to find some clarity and some peace, and my brain starts calming down. So I really, really suggest, it doesn't matter if people are watching you and it seems really embarrassing. Think of me when you're hugging the tree. I would be right there hugging the tree with you if I could. So spend some time in nature as much as you can. in stillness, meditation. Just stop when you start to feel really, really crazy. Meditation sounds like a big word. All it means is stop, be still, breathe. Take a few good breaths, cleansing breaths. Let yourself regroup and reground. Okay? So I hope that's helpful to you, Denise. Powerful card. Julie Kiss. Julie Kiss wants one. Hug trees. I hug trees. Julie Kiss. Let me know, Denise, if you got any questions about that card. I can go further into the book. I rarely pick up the book unless somebody asks me to, because I feel the energy coming through and I just say what comes to me instead. Let's see. Denise, you're so welcome. Julie Kiss asked next, so we're going to use her. Lauren would love a card. Perfect. So Julie Kiss is next. I'm clearing the cards. We're going to use this deck unless you're just like, oh, I need something else. I've got the Enchanted Map, Queen of the Moon Oracle, Moonology, Kuan Yin. I got all kind. Oh, I even got a new fairy deck if you'd like to use fairies. So if you just say, yeah, I really want a different one, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to stick with this one right now because the energy of these cards is amazing. So this is for Julie. Wow, Julie, that one is yours. It's funny. I love when it just hits me. Ooh, beautiful. Okay. Look at this. See what I mean about beautiful cards? They're so gorgeous. I could plaster my walls. So, what I want you to see in that card, look all around her. I don't like that little glare. The word on it is stretch. Everywhere around her, she has these tendrils. I say that often. People who have this beautiful energy, they're just walking the earth and they're just being who they're supposed to be. That's you, Julie. It's like you don't really have to work at this. I know sometimes you think that you do, but you don't really, because your energy is like tendrils that goes around and it just kind of just fills the space that you're in. That's why that husband of yours is so in love with you, because everywhere that you go, you've got this beautiful energy. It comes about you like these beautiful tendrils. And the stretch card is coming to you to remind you that even though you feel small sometimes, that those tendrils can go out 1,000 feet, 1,000 miles. They can go all the way around the earth. You may hold them back because you think people aren't interested in hearing your voice, seeing your face, or being too close or whatever. You may think that you don't have the kind of power that you do. Your tendrils, the reason why they're giving you the stretch card is because you can stretch that love energy as far out as you want to stretch it. Anytime you start to feel weak or small, if you're around someone that seems to have a need, you like, say you're walking through, let me see if you've ever experienced this. You're going someplace and all of a sudden you just get this tug on your heart. You're like, well, okay, who's pulling on me? I get that experience all the time. But long before I knew that I was a healer, I would have that experience. So you're walking through the mall or wherever you are, and all of a sudden your heart just feels like somebody's pulling at you. It doesn't really feel bad. It just feels like this energy is coming from you to somebody else. That's those tendrils of energy. It comes from your heart, solar plexus. It comes from that beautiful space, your centered space, right where that all of that energy of your higher self likes to come and settle in. And as she comes in and settles in, that energy just comes forth from you, like these beautiful tendrils. And so they're encouraging you to let them stretch out. It's okay. Don't try to hold it back. We can't hold back the river. It's got to flow. So let that energy just flow wherever it's got to go. You may not know where it's going. Oftentimes we don't know where it's going, and it's okay, because the angels and guides, your higher self knows exactly what she's doing, and she is sending that energy to wherever she needs to send it. And the only thing that will stop that from happening is you feeling too small, or not feeling worthy, or not feeling like you have enough to offer. Your energy is all around you, and it's amazing and incredible, and just let it flow. It's all about, I was getting the same message today. It was about, God, doesn't it feel good to just let it go? Doesn't it feel good to not try to stop the energy from flowing? Doesn't it feel good to just release? Just release it. Let it go to wherever it needs to go. Okay? And I hope that resonates with you. It is a gorgeous card. I think Lauren Riley is the next one to ask for a card. It's fun to do this sometimes, isn't it? You do understand. Good, 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 good. You are so very welcome. Glad that that gave you a good message, Julie. Let's see. Okay, Lauren, I'm going to use these same cards because you haven't said anything different to me. Thank you, John. We're going to use this same Sacred Earth Oracle because they're just speaking to me today. So this is for Lauren Riley. My eyes get floating when I start to feel the energy. That's how you'll know. Her eyes are going to the clouds again. Sherilyn picked up on that. She now knows. So she's like, what? What are you doing? I'm like, just give me a second. You have to go back, get back into it. Yes, Lauren, you do a beautiful job with your readings. There it is. There it is. My thumb says yes. My thumb is very alive with these cards today. Revolutions. I love this card, Revolution. Now I want you to think about revolution. Honestly, it's a beautiful card. Look at all the colors. You are a full circle kind of person, Lauren. I like the moon down there, the cycles. It's these cards, there's so much that you could pick up from the cards if you look at them. That might be a reflection too. I see beautiful feathers like wings and all of those colors in the hair. Revolution for you is very, very practical in the way that you have evolved. You have come from one place and you have come all the way full circle, all the way back around to the other side of it. You're that cycle. You're about to really, really come into some newness because it feels as if you have gone. I don't know how many of you have studied. You got the book right there. I can't think of his name. I'll think of it in a minute. But I have the life that you were. Dan McMillan. Really, really good book. The life you were born to live. And he talks all about numerology and how human beings go through this huge cycle. I think it's 9 years that he says. We come all the way around full circle. And then we'll come to a place where it's like we start something new and we build. And we get to this place where it comes all the way around to the other side and it feels like an ending. And sometimes that place of the ending can feel kind of sad or disorienting. We feel like, whoa, wait a minute, I've been trying to build this for so long. I've been trying to do something different, and all of a sudden I've come full circle. I actually made it to the other side. And we often fall into kind of some depression about that time because we know that something that we have been building, something that we have been creating, it has come all the way to the other side to fruition. And so it feels as if there's an ending coming in. But with every ending is a new beginning. So the cycle, it's like the cycles of the earth. Every month, you got the moon going through this cycle. Every year, we go through these cycles of the different seasons. And, you know, when we come around to fall and winter, it feels like an ending. You know, everything's coming to an end. And then all of a sudden, we move past that cold winter into spring, and everything comes back again, right? It's a brand new beginning again. So this card for you, Lauren, is that whole revolution that you've got going on of coming to the end of a beautiful cycle and the beginning of a new one. And I would love to do your numerology sometime just to see where you are as far as the years in your cycle, because I feel like you're right at a really powerful place in that, okay? So know that. Trying to get out of cyclic living. Well, we can try to get out of cyclic living as much as we want to, and I get what you're saying, but we are just like the earth. All of us are just like the earth, and the earth is constantly going through changes, and there's no end. That's the most important part, is there's no end. It's just coming to a place where we're building something, and now you're in a new beginning, okay? So I don't know if you want to call that cyclic living or not. It's nature. It's the way we're wired. As far as egoic beings, as far as the earth is concerned, as far as being physical, we go through these beautiful, incredible energy cycles, and it's a powerful place that you're in right now. So I hope that resonates with you. Gotta go. Okay, liver's gotta go. All right, next year is a personal year of 3 next year. Okay, very cool. Keep hanging with it. You've got newness coming in. However it is, you got newness coming in, so be aware of that and know that you're getting ready to have some really exciting progress in your chosen path. How's that feel? Okay. Anybody else? Tell me now if you're interested in getting. Hi, Geraldine. I know you're very busy today. I'm glad that you popped in to say hi. You are so welcome, Lauren. Denise, I have been so concentrated. Wait a minute, that's too long for me. I've been concentrating so much on stillness at the moment after our country has been in upheaval. Yeah, I felt sleepless nights that I've been calling on my angels in abundance, and felt Michael and Raphael to say they are with me all the way. I thank you. That's very exactly where your card was directing. So you're doing really, really well. You're doing really well asking for assistance. I know that the earth is in such a crazy place right now. So the fact that this is opening you up to calling on the angels, to getting more assistance, is a really, really beautiful sign that you're going to make it through this. Yes, please. Carol says yes. Anne says yes. Okay. Let's get some. Anne was next, and then we'll do Carol. I'm sticking with the same deck unless you yell at me to change it, because I really love this deck. Go take care of yourself, Lauren. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is a pop in, pop out kind of day. We're just going to kind of play around with cards for anyone that wants it. Anne Peterson, Geraldine's cousin, correct? Let's see what we got for Anne. Waiting for the energy. You got a lot of energy flowing. I'm just waiting for it to point me in a direction. And that one is exactly the card that's meant for you. Beautiful perspective. I love this one. There's so many little pieces to it if you look at it. I love this little symbol. This looks like angel wings behind. The colors of these cards are so gorgeous. And look at this. She is holding the whole world. Look how beautiful that card is. Perspective. We all have our ways. Now, you know, and this includes when we're reading cards for people. We all have our own perspective, our own way of looking at things. And so every single one of us has a different filter. So everything that comes through to me through your guides, if I'm opening up to your guides, opening up to the angels that are around you, I'm using my filter to translate what the message that they're trying to give you. And so everybody that gives you a perspective or a reading, remember that it's coming through that filter. For any of you that are still here that have already gotten cards, it's always coming through that filter. So you will take the bits and pieces, you'll look at the card, and look at and pick up bits and pieces for yourself of whatever I'm saying to you, understanding that whoever gives you one of these, that comes through their filter. And so the same thing goes for you, that you have your own perspective, your own way of looking at things. You, like all of the rest of us, hold the whole world in your hands. Your perspective may seem very small. Your perspective may seem as if you're just being battered around out on the seas and everything's happening to you. It's all coming at you. You have no control over it. It's just happening, and you're just there getting knocked around by it. They want you to change your perspective. They want you to look at the world and spend more time. This will not come to you easily. It never comes to us easily. It takes us some practice to work on seeing the world a little bit differently, seeing ourselves a little bit differently. So as you're walking around looking, instead of being like thinking that tree is separate from you, that person is separate from you, that dog is separate from you, that blade of grass, try walking through and saying, there I am, look at that I am that blade of grass. I am the moon. I am the sun. I am that homeless person. I am that little worm. I am that tree. I am the moon. There's something in that that's so powerful for anybody that's watching this right now. Learning to be that I am presence of I am. Because as we begin to see everyone on the planet as ourselves, as we begin to see everything that we see that's in our vision as an extension of us, we begin to take on a whole different way of functioning in the world. How can we be cruel? How can we be judgmental? How can we be hurtful? How can we be neglectful? How can we be selfish when we're so occupied with seeing others as ourselves? It changes everything about the way that we live. So that is the way that this card is reading to me today, is to find your own power. Don't feel small. Begin to see yourself as being stronger and bigger and a part of everything. Everything, your energy. That's the one thing that Steve really showed me when he passed. It didn't take me long to realize it either. It was like I would see these butterflies, and I would see what else are rainbows, or everything around me. I would see these little mossy hearts, or white, I don't know if it's limestone or whatever it is, but it would form as a heart on a tree when I was walking by it. And I was like, I wonder if that's you. And he made it very clear, of course it's me. You know, we're so used to thinking, oh, we don't get miracles. That's other people. I don't even know if I believe in miracles. You know, we got all that going on. The miracles are all around us all the time. The earth is forever gifting us with these beautiful love notes. And we are so apart. And eventually, as I was experiencing these things that I felt were coming from Steve, I began to realize that Steve wasn't just he didn't just go out to the clouds someplace. He evolved from being the Steve that I always knew into everything. He was in the butterflies. He was in the red birds. He was in the bluebirds. He was in the clouds when I'd see them come form flying pigs in the sky. He was in the moon and the energy that I was receiving from the moon. And when the sun would shine down on me on a cold day on my face, I knew that was him. And so they're pushing you too, Anne. It's a very beautiful message for you. I feel like you really need it, is to see yourself as everything. We are energy within the physical form. And when we leave the physical form, we are still energy, and we become everything. There is nothing that's ever lost. We just become everything. So it kind of takes the fear away, doesn't it? The mystery and the fear of death. Death doesn't exist. Death is just a releasing so that we can become everything again. So that we can actually experience what it feels like to be everything, because we are everything right now. We just, because we're so tied down in this little bitty body, we don't realize what we are. So you are everything and everyone and every blade of grass. And so they're just pushing you to change your perspective and realize how much you really are. I hope that helps you. So many signs: cardinals, dragonflies. Sure, I love dragonflies so much. Feathers. If you knew. I love butterflies. They like to fly around me, and I always feel, like as if they do a couple circles around me, I feel like I've been so blessed. But there's something about dragonflies for me. There's just something about them. When I'm sitting in a quiet space and they hover, they come right down and they look at me. And I'm like, oh gosh, it's like we're so connected. I think I may have been a dragonfly in a past life. Well, look at it. I just said we're everything, right? I must have been a dragonfly. I love them so much. I'm glad that you're getting all those signs, Anne. Love notes everywhere, everywhere. Gerald's first cousin, perfect. One of my favorite people on the planet. All right, you guys. Anything? Oh, we got a card for Carol. Carol, I hope you're still here. You can't stop me. These are my favorite cards, and I think they fit you perfectly, Carol. You and all your Native American energy. You're perfect. So let's see what they got for you. The whole card deck is lighting up right now for you, by the way. It's like, yeah, let's just give her the whole deck. Okay, here you go. We're going to pull one. Give us one. Don't be selfish. Okay, we're going to take that one. Wait. It's not speaking to me. Hold on. It's got to speak to me. This is Carol. Clear the deck. If it comes up again, you're getting it. But I don't think that was meant for you. I think that was not cleared out properly. Why do they want you to have so many cards? Carol, you call me afterwards. We're probably going to have to do a whole... we're going to have to do the whole deck. Listen. Listen to me, Carol. Your card is a listen. Listen's a beautiful card. I'm going to just hold it up and let you get it better. You are... It's not because you're not listening, because you are. It is... Keep practicing. Keep practicing your listening. You are becoming a better listener all the time. And when I talk about listening, I'm talking about listening with ears that are not these, that don't have eardrums. Listening with those ears that are hearing spirit, that are able to experience loved ones around you, that are able to actually speak to you through energy. You are one of the most definitely soul related to me, and definitely experiencing energy in a way that I don't get many people that experience energy the way that I do, but you do. And so, and we've had this echo of our experiences are so much alike. And so I get this. I know what they're trying to give to you. They're trying to tell you that you are sometimes doubtful of what you're doing. You're sometimes doubtful of your abilities. You're not fully allowing yourself to fall into this and experience it because you think that somebody else may be further ahead than you, that somebody else may be able to do this better than you, and you're still trying to play the student. And they're really pushing you to step out of that box. Don't be held back, because you're not talking about this lifetime alone. You're talking about lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime of learning how to do this. You are not, you don't need a teacher. You need an awakener. You only need to have someone to shake you out of your slumber and remind you of who you really are. And once you fully come into the idea of who you really are, there is no stopping you. You're already doing such amazing work. And like so many of us, just being here on the planet with the energy that you create, you take in the pain. You're a beautiful filter. And I know how difficult this is for you. And they are patting you on the back. Pain happens in the world. And wherever it happens in the world, you experience it. And sometimes you don't even know why you're crying. It just, your eyes just flood with water, and you don't know why you're doing it. It's because you are such an amazing filter. You don't even need to know what you're experiencing. It could be somebody on the other side of the world. There could be some horrible event that just happened, and a lot of people are suffering, and suddenly you feel like you need to sit down and cry. And so it doesn't end there. Even though you're receiving this and it really hurts, they're reminding you that they lighten it back up. That what happens is you're actually filtering. So the pain comes through you, and it comes back out as light energy. It comes through and comes back out. So just inhaling and exhaling. When you start to have that happen, you're just going to sit in it. You're going to breathe it in. Let it filter through that beautiful being that you are. And you're going to breathe it back out. And it's going to go just like it came to you from unknown sources. It will go back to where it needs to go. You are just being a filter. It's a difficult job. You signed down for this. Some of us seem to be gluttons for punishment. But that is what you signed on for. You signed on to be this amazing filter for the planet Earth. And they are congratulating you and patting you on the back for the beautiful job that you're doing. So I hope that resonates with you. It's the absolute truth. I want you to look at that again, because to me, well, there's the sacred geometry, but you're feeling it, and it's just filtering through. And it ends up coming right back out. Look at all that beautiful energy. It comes in, you filter, and it goes back out. Trust yourself, okay, Carol? You're doing a beautiful job. It resonates so much. You are so welcome. So glad. John Stewart, if you want a card, you got to say yes. Just say, yes, I'd like a card. I know you don't like cards that much, but sometimes they're fun to play with. Cheryl Ann, I don't know if you're still here. Anybody else that is still here that would like to receive a card, please feel free to ask. Big breath, clearing that beautiful energy. Carol, you're one of them. You're a precious commodity on the planet, for sure. As is everyone else. I just know you well enough to know how precious. At least a little bit of it. It's massive. There are only a few of us. There are only a few. The truth is, and I was listening to Cryon the other day. John, this is something for you, responding to what you just said. Light workers, according to Cryon, and this is what back in 2012, and I know there's been more light workers being born into the planet, so I don't believe that the number may not be that small anymore. But he was saying at that point that we had 1% of 1%. I think it was that on the planet of human beings. 1% of 1%. That's still a lot of people, but not anything compared to how many people on the planet are actually light workers able to do this kind of work. So, and it's because these, you, me, all of us were very old souls. We know how to channel energy. We just, it's a part of who we are. And even though we deny it and try to pretend that it doesn't exist, it's still who we are. It's why we came. So, yes, Captain A, I'm still reading cards. Sorry, Caleb. Sorry, I went away for a second. One half of 1%. Thank you. Whoever said that, 1/2 of 1%. I can't always get those. 1/2 of 1%. That's even smaller, but somehow we find each other. That's what I was getting to, is that we can have 1 billion people on the planet. They're walking around all over the place. We're tripping over them. They're bumping into us. They're everywhere. And even though I can say, well, you are me, I'm you, there I am when I look at them, they don't carry the energy because they're baby souls. And I still love them, but they're baby souls. They don't quite know how to do this kind of stuff. So if you're able to filter energy like this, if you're able to feel energy, if you're able to experience this complete shift that we're going through right now, at least parts of it, if you consider yourself an empath, a light worker, know that you are powerful, that you are ancient. People say old soul. I'm like, no, choose ancient. Ancient. I've done this so many times, thousands. We might think, well, I've done this 10 times. No, we've done this. We've done this thousands of times, maybe more. So we're only remembering. We're waking up. We're remembering. We don't have to be trained, learn. We will learn. We have beautiful teachers on the planet, but the truth is that we are awakening. We're like that sleeping dragon in the cave, and that eye flops open, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, there you are. There you are. You have done this so many times before. It's only a matter of remembering who you are and allowing yourself to be. I guess he wants a card. I think that's what he just asked me. All right, I'll give Caleb a card in a minute. If anybody else is here, Caleb, if you're watching, how about if I do the card here? You're just gonna have to watch. If you say yes, I'm here, instead of asking me messages, I'll give him another minute. Otherwise, I'll do him a private reading. 1/2 of 1%. So, all right, you guys. If anybody, I think Jeroen's probably gone back to her thing that she's got going. John, if you want a card, you got to ask. I already told you that. You're gonna have to ask. I can't give you a card unless you ask for it. And I'm gonna do a card for Caleb here in just a few minutes. But I'll do his through his own way. I haven't seen energy as everything here is energy. Exactly. We are energy, as in everything here is energy. Everything that we see. That's why if you consider that people are like, well, how could I be that thing? That thing is energy. Energy. Just because you can pick it up in your hand, it just depends on how quickly it's vibrating, whether or not it's solid or whether or not it's just this, like mist, where it's not solid. Depends on how fast it's vibrating or how slow it's vibrating. This is vibrating more slowly. It became a solid, right? So when we vibrate really, really fast, we become energy, pure energy. So everything is energy. That's why we can compare ourselves to it. We are part of this earth. We are part of the rocks and the trees. Our energy just flows through. And when we leave physical form, we remember that. We just become a part of everything. It's so beautiful. All right, you guys, I've been on here for over an hour. I don't see any more cards right here. I will give Caleb his reading. Since he doesn't appear to be on the show, I'll do the reading on the side for him. If anybody else wants one, you got to say it really quickly. Otherwise, I'm going to pop back off. Our numbers are dwindling. We've been on here for over an hour. So thank you guys so much for listening to me today, for hearing everything that comes out of my face, for allowing me to do card readings for you. I appreciate you so much. Take good care of yourselves. Tomorrow's Sunday. I will do my best to be here sometime tomorrow. I'll do my best. Life has been very busy and I'm doing a lot of healing work, so. But I will try to sneak in for a little while. Take good care of yourselves. I love you guys so much. Be in stillness today. I'm going to post another video with the water here in just a few minutes. If you can't get yourself into that quiet place, just turn up the volume. Put in your earbuds, put it on, and just allow that water to fill your soul. because those ancient rocks that I'm sitting on and that water that's coming down through them is so powerful. Take good care of yourselves. I love you guys. Bye.